Good morning, students. Today we are going to study about Flamingo's second poem, An Elementary School Classroom in a Slum, composed by Stephen Spender. So let us see what is there in this poem. So first of all, I am going to tell you something about the poet of the poem. He is Sir Stephen Harold Spender, was born in the year 1909 in England. He was a poet, novelist, and essayist. His mainstream of work is based on social justice and the class struggle. This particular poem was published in the year 1949. It was a part of his book The God That Failed. So this poem, students, contains four stanzas. Let us see what is there in the first stanza. First stanza says, far, far from gusty waves, these children's faces like rootless weeds, the hair torn round their pallor, the tall girl with her weighed down head, the paper seeming boy with rat's eyes, the stunted, unlucky heir of twisted bones, reciting a father's gnarled disease, his lesson from his desk. At the back of the dim class, one unnoted, sweet and young, his eyes live in a dream of a squirrel's game in a entry room other than this. The student, the poet, first of all says far, far. So, this use of repetition is there to lay stress on how far it is. It is very far. Then he says gusty waves. This is a metaphor which means a sudden strong rush of wind. So, this gusty is very much full of energy and vigor. So, the line far, far from gusty waves is saying that the faces of the children are very far away from being energetic, as they should be, as the faces of the children are generally. Then he says, like rootless weeds. So, this is a simile. He says rootless means, he says rootless, which means without any foundation or without being attached to something. Further, he says weeds. Weeds are unwanted plants, they just grow anywhere. So, the poet is saying that these children are unwanted. They are without any bindings, without any attachment. He says that their hair is smeared all over their pallor. Pallor means pale face. Poet says that their faces are pale, maybe due to lack of nutrition. Then he describes some of the children in the classroom. First of all, there is a tall girl. The poet has used the word tall probably as compared to other children. She is older in the classroom and her head is hung low due to the burden of poverty, as her condition is miserable. The next boy is, paper seeming boy. So this paper seeming boy is again a metaphor to express how the boy he is. He's just like paper. First of all, he is as thin as paper, and secondly, his skin is as white as paper. Right. Further, the poet says, rat's eyes. Rat's eyes. So that is again another metaphor which indicates the expression of boy's eyes, which are greedy, which are hungry. Right. His hungry eyes, like that of a rat, are searching for food and contentment. Malnutrition has kept him short and stunted. He is an unfortunate heir to the deformed, twisted body. Disease and pain are his only inheritance. Means he has got his this deformed body. He has got this disease from from his father. Somewhere in the you know remote corner of his poorly lit and ill-equipped class, one may see young and sweet people. One at the back of the class, you know one student is there that is unnoticed by others, and he is always lost in the world of dreams. He creates his own fantastic world where he plays around like the squirrel in her tree room. The dull and monotonous rut of the classroom does not interest him. He is always busy, frolics around outside, imagining that he is playing there outside, right, in the with the squirrel. So the classroom of the elementary school has not been maintained properly. Right, the classroom has not been maintained. The palm cream walls, which must have been painted long ago with donated money, create a morbid atmosphere in a corner and stands a portrait of Shakespeare. It is ironical that literary master portraits should be housed in a classroom where no serious teaching is taking place. The children of the slum perhaps can never taste the joys of literature. Similarly, there is a picture of beautiful valley of fragrant flowers. The children can never experience their fragrance and beauty since they are condemned to live in the slum. The entire atmosphere in the school is one of inactivity and morbidity, which contrasts with the cloudless sky at dawn and concrete domes which override the cities. An open handed map of the world in the classroom projects to their grim world, the world given to us with all its bounties. However, for these poor children, there is no world beyond their poverty and hunger. The rich world outside, which they can view through the window, is not the real world. Their world is dark and misty, you know, and bleak, and their future is bleak. These children are far away from the rivers or the mountain capes and stars. Right? So they fight the battle of life unarmed and ill equipped. No wonder they find Shakespeare wicked and map a bad example. Neither literary beauty nor scenic beauty enthralls them. Acquainted with filth and dirt, they have lost their sense of beauty and appreciation. So they feel cheated on being deprived of the skills of Shakespeare, the thrilling sensation of sun and the ships, and tender emotion of love. They only know one sensation: hunger. And this forces them to steal for their entrance also, existence. They make desperate efforts from the foggy morning till the long endless nights to strive for their sustenance and to support a life which is crushed and crammed in unhealthy, filthy holes. Their childhood gets wasted on heaps of slacks and garbage. They look mere skeleton as their bones peep through the cover of their thin skins. Even the spectacles they wear are those discarded by rich. The spectacles made of steel and their mended glasses appear like bits of bottle on stones. The children spend all their time in these foggy slums, which comprise their world. The maps displayed in their classroom are not the reality for them. It is ironical that these children cannot locate their slum on the map, although it is their world. The slum where life is worse than death are a blot on the civilized world. There is an urgent need to blot out these slums by giving their inhabitants means and opportunities to lead dignified and civilized lives. It is an appalling reality that there is no activity unless a governor, a school inspector, or a stray visitor comes on a round of the scale. of the school. So this map, this map becomes their window, because only through this can they view the world beyond their slums. If the windows of their classroom just shut them, confined them to their morbid world, their lives are sealed in the cemeteries of these slums. The poet appeals to powerful people to liberate, you know, these um, to liberate these children from the horrible slums and let them breathe in a healthy environment. He would like them to bask in the vastness of the world, expose them to the green fields, and let them run carefree on the golden sands. And for the world of the children should not be confined within slum walls. The poet's earnest desire is that these children should be able to enjoy their fundamental rights to education. They should be allowed to read books, right? They should be able to learn not only from books but also from the nature around them. And ending the poem on a positive note, the poet feels that people who are ignited by the fire of knowledge, right, and learning are those who create history. He would like opportunities to be made available to the children. He wishes that all the distinction of the rich and the poor and all forms of injustice should be wiped out, so that no childhood get lost in the gloomy darkness of ignorance in the slum. So that's all about the explanation of the poem Elementary School Classroom. Thank you, class.